Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Swan Survival and Fusion's Ramblings. We are here in this series spending some time talking about a random topic, whatever it might be. And today, that topic is sci-fi shows. What are the cool sci-fi shows that uh, I really enjoy? Yes, it's all about me, 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 me. It's always about me, you know? Why would it be about anybody else? No, really, there is a lot on offer when we think about sci-fi shows. Um, uh, and sci-fi is probably my favorite, uh, you know, I guess type of show that's out there. Um, and some of the ones that I like watching aren't even new; they're older. Type of shows. And some of my favorites were Babylon 5, for example. It had 5 seasons. It was really cool. I really like it. I remember watching it when it first started, which is when I was still in school and, completing. And of course, it was disappointing that it, stopped. But they did follow it up with a couple little movies that came out and a side series. Well, I wouldn't say movies, but series movies, whatever they're called. And then there was also a little side uh, series that came out too with a number of different episodes. I think there were 10 or something, that had kind of a continuation, but was an adventure along the same universe. Really cool show, and I really enjoyed it. Another one that I really liked, a little bit corny sometimes, but was Farscape. Farscape with its, kind of like living ship, and then everything else that came along with it was different to say the least. But I enjoyed that one as well. And then another one that I enjoyed, and this one takes the cake as far as being, I don't want to say weird, but it's definitely out there, was Lex. Now, if you haven't seen Lex, it's about this crew that escapes on this ship, and the ship happens to be a giant living dragonfly like insect thing that can devour planets. I mean, kind of creepy, but it, you know, it was weird, but it was a really good, show for what it had in it, what it had to offer, and what it was focused on, and I really liked it. Um, and then, of course, there's, some more others that, people are more familiar with just because they really got the spotlight, and that would be like the Stargate series and franchise. Started with the movie that came out in, I don't know, 1990. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. That came out, and then after that, the movie wasn't quite a huge hit um, overall, but it led to um, the franchise that came out with, Stargate, the series. Um, and then that evolved into Stargate Atlantis, as a secondary series that ran partially in conjunction with the first, and then after that there was Stargate Universe that came out. Was it Universe? Stargate. I forget. Universe, I think. I'm pretty sure, but don't quote me again. I'm bad with remembering things like this. Um, and that one was really cool as well. And unfortunately, they ended it on a cliffhanger, and they didn't continue the series, which was really disappointing to see the series just go away like that. I know that more recently there was like a reboot where they tried to make a similar Stargate show that was based around, um, you know, ancient Egyptian times and the whole time period around that, um, with Ra and everything. And I guess it didn't take off too well because it didn't last long, unfortunately. Um, but and I don't think I've had the chance to really watch all of those episodes because I didn't have the TV channel that it aired on or the subscription service that it was needed to be able to watch it. Um, but definitely, a good series, very enjoyable, something that um, right up my alley as far as sci-fi. Portals that go to different universes and you name it. Um, who wouldn't want to be able to live in a world like that, right? Of course, there were some issues too. World-ending threats. We don't need those really. But anyways, but great shows overall. And then, of course, more recently, you have the whole Expanse franchise. Um, and, they're on their fifth season, right? Uh, awesome show, totally awesome show. And really love how they've put it together. It has a lot of realism that even though we're not quite there yet in technology and in our advances as a society, um, it makes it look realistic. Like, hey, this could be the future in a few years. Obviously it's more than a few years, but it gives you that sense um, that it could be, which is really cool. And you can tell I'm organizing chests and finding things all in the wrong spots. Anyways, um, and so definitely a series I would recommend anybody to watch would be, The Expanse. But then there's a lot of others out there that are a little bit more different, still considered in the sci-fi genre, but they are not, necessarily the space odyssey or sci-fi. Um, Maybe, well, I guess a little bit. I mean, there's the Doctor Who series. There's, um, geez, my brain is failing me again. There's a number of different shows that represent both future and change, that are really well put together. And I think that's the trick is with any series is that it has to be well put together to gain the fan base and to get the people um, to watch it. So we have no dirt chests, so we'll put it here for now. No, we won't. Just a minute. I'm thinking, and thinking takes brain cells, and unfortunately, I am very limited on brain cells. I need some chests. There's some chests. All right. Um, so, what other type of series out there, that stand out in my mind? Now, of course, we could talk about the classics that anybody from a sci-fi standpoint is going to recognize and consider as a staple, um, when it comes to sci-fi, and that's going to be your Star Trek series as well as your Star Wars series. Now, Star Wars series, yes, I admit, now we're talking about cartoons because there really isn't a series that has, in the past until Mandalorian came out. And then that was really the first series you could say was Mandalorian. Um, and definitely a great show, but Star Trek, look at how many different offshoots and everything else that have come out of that. Uh, Literally tons of different shows over the years um, have been, or spin-offs, whether it's Deep Space Nine, Voyager, the Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Orville, Picard, which is an awesome series. I'm really glad that they were able to pull that off and bring it together. Um, and then there's many others as well, um, that over the years have evolved into things that you can look back on and you say that was really good, and I really enjoy that type of thing. And there's probably countless others that I'm not even mentioning from a sci-fi standpoint. And let's expand that a little bit. I mean, I know I started off by saying we're going to talk about sci-fi series and stuff, but let's expand to other good shows that are out there as we deal with the lag here on the with my ping. Um, and examples would be shows that go back. I'll start with early ones. ER and Chicago Hope actually is what it was called, uh, and then later on Doctor House. As far as TV show dramas early on, uh, those were great. Really, you know, captivating and enjoyable. I remember that, as a family, we would watch those shows because my mom wanted to watch them when they came on. And so, as kids, we would take advantage of that too because it meant we get to watch TV, right? But it was really good shows that were really well put together with stories and of course, all the excitement and drama happening inside the hospital and everything else going on. And then Dr. House with his comedy and the challenges that he faced, in diagnoses and coming up with treatments and all of that for whatever. Um, Great shows. Others out there was, of course, the whole, plethora, if you want to call it that, of shows surrounding uh, Law and Order. Of course, Law and Order itself, NCIS, and it spun out into all kinds of different ones. Um, Geez, there was a bunch of others, including some old ones that I can't even remember the names of at the moment, that were very enjoyable to watch. Uh, and just most of them were centered around solving crime, um, or mysteries, right? And then going from there, into creating a storyline around the characters and around the departments and different things like that, and the job itself, um, and great shows overall to just help create a little bit of a connection, to those areas that you know, most of us don't really think about what happens behind the pictures or behind the picture when, you know, a crime happens or when, a various situation comes up, stuff like that. And that's what those shows really did well, no matter what they were, and in a sense, yes, they're kind of sci-fi-ish. A few of them, like Law and Order, was usually based on true stories and things like that, and they rewrote um, with different names and characters and everything, but the whole purpose behind it was to provide context around, actual cases and stuff that had happened, in the different Law and Order areas, because Law and Order expanded to different regions as well. What am I looking for? Uh, this one. That's what I'm looking for. um, but I think we're out of time for today's episode, which is great because my memory is having problems, as you can tell. But maybe that was entertaining for you. Anyways, everybody, thanks for joining me today, and we shall talk to you in the next episode.